Uh, Caution, this article reveals plot details from episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Andor Season 2, currently available on Disney Plus. Proceed with care if you wish to avoid spoilers. In this way, the sentence is easier to read and understand for a general audience, maintaining the original intent while using clearer language. In the second consecutive week, the series Andor dramatically ended a significant character's life. This time around, the rebel assassin named Cinta Kaz, played by Varada Sethu, met her untimely end when she was inadvertently shot by a Gorman revolutionary during a routine assault on an Imperial transport vessel. In our previous episodes, Cinta was posing as Tay Colma's driver, a businessman played by Ben Miles, while secretly carrying out his assassination at the behest of her spies. At the Patriarch and assigned, almost women with hestives, and the brand new of an ex. However, things have now taken a dramatic turn for her. She and her partner Val Sartha, Faye Marseille, were on the verge of leaving their rebel activities to concentrate on their relationship, but suddenly found themselves in a situation where the roles are reversed. In Gorman, Cinta joins an urgent operation orchestrated by native revolutionaries against the Empire, who are exploiting the planet for energy while oppressing its inhabitants. The rebels target an Imperial supply ship. However, the Gormans are disorganized and ill-prepared, which causes complications. An onlooker becomes overly inquisitive about the situation, leading to a skirmish with a Gorman. Unfortunately, this leads to an accidental laser blast that takes Cinta's life. Vel is devastated by the loss, but the operation presses on, leaving her little time to grieve for her fallen comrade. With Ibi Naster, Sethu delves into the discussion about filming that pivotal death scene, explains why Cinta is much like the Grim Reaper, almost carrying a scythe, and speculates on what her relationship with Vel might have evolved into if she hadn't perished. What has the fan reaction been like to Cinta's death? Well, the audience has been remarkably considerate in not revealing spoilers. A handful of them have left comments on my Instagram, but I've recently received an abundance of messages expressing sympathy, such as, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe they did this to you." I'm truly sorry. It's touching to take, how much people empathize with Cinta just as deeply as I do. And, you know, um, the experience has been incredibly heartwarming. I could delve into the aspects that make her ending so profound. But I found it exceptionally clever how it mirrors the reality of death. There's no goodbye and no closure, only suddenness and the unexpected in the most ordinary circumstances, which was the nature of their mission. Um, the apprehension Vel and Cinta felt about starting a relationship post-mission is highlighted by the fact that their relationship disintegrated during this seemingly routine mission, making it all more shocking roots. That's what was that day on set like? And the object was incredibly weighty, And then struggling not to weep was a challenge. But empathy welled up within me for Vel and the child. There's a moment where you feel compelled to prove yourself, and he exceeded expectations, quite literally. Um, it was an incredibly sorrowful day, as everyone felt particularly sensitive. Um, uh, the atmosphere was heavy with mourning. It seemed surreal. I felt like I was on the brink of death. Everyone around me handled me with great care. A heated argument ensued, followed by a revelation, and events had to progress rapidly. Uh, Everything that unfolded was done delicately secret. In the scene where Vel, she didn't even get a chance to privately grieve for Cinta, had to promptly continue the mission. I could feel her raw emotions, and it was intensely powerful. I felt anger towards him, but also sadness, and his remorse. Um, this massive figure who was supposed to become a legend took that potential away from someone else. What was your reaction to reading the script for the first time and finding out Cinta's fate breeding up in the world? And Tony Gilroy contacted me and shared the news with me prior to the script being shared, delivered. Despite it being an unusual response, I found myself feeling energized and big physics. And that happened in the way Oricazing for you. I said I felt like I have made the training table of content of my friends. Doing pretty cool. I had always believed that Cinta would perish during the rebellion. It seemed implausible for someone like her to survive such an uprising. It's a horrific scenario, yet I admired its bravery and lack of apologies, which sets Andor and Rogue One apart from other Star Wars productions. These stories focus on the grassroots characters, not the heroes. Um, we aren't following a Skywalker with mind-bending abilities. Instead, we witness ordinary individuals shedding blood to pave the way for someone more significant to rise. Why did you think Cinta was always going to die in the rebellion? She's frequently employed as a tool by the uprising. She's more like an assassin, always engaged in lethal confrontations. Vel functions as a spy, and it's clear she's often placed in dangerous predicaments. But Cinta is the one who brandishes the weapon, be it a knife or gun matches. Uh, um, she's the one people see just before they die. It's hard to say how many lives she's taken, given her repeated exposure to such situations. I think it's likely that her fate could also be sealed in similar manner. Speaking of being on the receiving end, at the end of episode 3, we see Cinta pose as Tychoma's chauffeur and drive him away, presumably to his death. We don't see what happens, but what do you think she does to him? Um, Ben Miles, the actor portraying Tacoma, and I had a conversation about it since clearly it's not as stated in the script. We were curious, asking each other, "What do you think might occur?" And Ben hinted, "Well, it's rarely beneficial when we meet, right?" I appreciate that there's an unspoken tension. It's almost like spotting a Grim Reaper when she appears. Um, um, I feel like I could almost wield a scythe myself. Um, where has Cinta and Vel's relationship gone between the first and second seasons? Um, Compared to Vel, Cinta appears more emotionally exposed or vulnerable. In the first season, Cinta's main priority was always the rebellion above all else. However, this season has brought significant changes, making her much more susceptible. They were separated, and she discusses a mission that didn't go as planned, resulting in injuries that left her incapacitated for some time. People like Cinta, uh, driven by their causes, often don't consider what comes next when they're focused on fighting. Last season, her sole concern was how to keep fighting. And after being separated from Vel and having to reassess her life, she starts questioning what comes after the revolution. What am I fighting for? What constitutes a good life? If I don't fight for it myself, no one else will. You know, like it's Luffen has his grand scheme, but it doesn't seem to account for individuals like Cinta and Vel Sal. She is taking a step back to reflect on her life and what she wants from it. Cinta's death is accidentally and totally avoidable. Um, what do you think that says about the state of the rebellion? Leadership of uprisings is typically human driven. That smooth operation is rarely guaranteed due to numerous factors that might cause disruption, with personality and ego being the most significant variables. Um, um, there's a young individual eager to make his mark. Uh, we've all found ourselves in situations where we overstepped boundaries, often with unfortunate consequences that true interpreters, for this youth, the stakes are incredibly high, potentially life threatening. And he's putting someone's life at risk who, as Bell describes it, is indispensable to the rebellion due to their immense value of the time. If Cinta had survived, would she and Bell have left the rebellion or continued fighting for the rebels? It's likely they would have fled and hidden somewhere if given the chance. Although I believe they might attempt to do so. In my opinion, they might imagine a life of escape, but I suspect their true course of action would be to remain with the rebellion as Cinta continues to um, believe in it deeply, roll enroll